Hi all, I'm Vladimir. You're watching the BimDoc channel. Today's video will be about how to code your BMW. I will cover three main aspects. The first, what tools are needed, I mean hardware and software to work with the BMW. Second, how does that affect warranty, if that affects at all. And third, of course, the full procedure of coding of BMW F or G series. This video is meant for the beginners who have no idea what is coding, or for those guys who are just in the beginning of the way of coding their BMW and they are not sure how to do, why to do, and so on. If you are an advanced user and have coded your BMW for a lot of times, believe me, even you will find at least one new point about coding of BMW in that video, so stay tuned. First, before we go to the topic, the most common question I've been asked: how does coding affect warranty, if that affects at all? Actually, coding will not affect warranty in any cases, and here is why. Because coding is just changing the parameters inside the ECU. You're not adding anything, you're not reflashing the full software, you're not interfering with the hardware anyhow, you're just changing the parameters. Basically, you are activating or deactivating those. And when your BMW that is on the warranty goes to the dealer connects to the car, actually they don't care about if any coding was done. Because if software update is needed, they'll just run the update of the software and that will rewrite all the codings that you have done before, and they will not even notice that. That's why coding is totally safe and does not affect warranty. As I said, coding is totally safe. Why? Because you can always revert all your actions back. Whatever you have done, you can always make vice versa to go to the factory settings, or even if you're a more advanced user, you can recode the whole ECU back to factory settings. Coding back to factory settings, that will be the part 2 of the same video that will be released soon if you find that topic interesting. Now let's go to the topic of our video, coding. First, hardware and software that's needed. Let's go inside the car. I will show all the tools you will need to work with your BMW. So, the hardware. You need somehow to connect to the car, otherwise you cannot proceed forward. If you are just a beginner, I recommend you to buy in-net cable. On one side that will be OBD2, on the another side that will be regular Cat5 output. You can buy that cable from wherever, eBay, Amazon, whatever source you can find, and all the cables are the same. There is no point to pay extra money for golden plated, platinum, ultra, super, lux, luxury, and so on, so they're all the same. On some cables it is written that it's meant only for F series. Actually, the seller is not totally right, because all the cables will work with F and G series. Those cables will not suit to E series. If you have a bit newer laptop and you don't have Cat5 output over there, you can use that kind of adapter. From one side it's for Cat5, you can just connect it. On the other side it could be USB Type A, Type C, whatever, it will work. If you are the beginner and you don't have anything to code your car, your first choice will be in-net cable. That's why main job will be done with that today. For information, I'll also show you another tools that can be used working with BMWs. If you are a bit more advanced user and you have, for example, BMW iCom, that tool also can be used to connect via the Esys to a BMW. Connection procedure is a bit different. I will show you that later in the video. In addition to in-net cable or iCom, you can use also iCom Nano or V6 SC. Actually, this is a Chinese tool that emulates the iCom or in-net cable that will also work with BMW. One very important note is, I'm really often asked, hey Vladimir, can I use my Bluetooth dongle that I use my phone to connect to the BMW to code with the Esys? Unfortunately, no, those will not work. Of course, to work with BMW and install all needed software, you will need some kind of laptop. It should be Windows-based laptop. If you're a Mac user, it is also possible to code on Mac, but you have either to install Windows via the bootcamp or use Parallels or whatever other virtual machine to install Windows, because software like Esys meant to be working with BMW can be run only on Windows. If on your laptop you have additional BimDoc sticker, that will give you 2 extra points to the coding speed. From software side, you will need Esys and some kind of databases to connect to a BMW. Esys can be recognized by that kind of sign. Be aware that I'm not selling any software, any Esys, any launchers, any databases, anything. But you can definitely find those in Google. Majority of them are free. To code your BMW properly, you will need not only Esys but databases. Databases can be light or full. Difference between those. Light databases, they weight around 10 gigabytes. Some older bases might weight a bit less, newer bases a bit more. And full databases, they weight around 200 gigabytes. Those can be used for coding and programming. So, if you are just a beginner and want only to code your BMW, go with light databases. There is no need for you to download full database. Also, to code BMW, you will need some kind of launcher for the Esys. Launcher is not standalone program, it's addition to the Esys that expands it. It allows you to go inside the ECU and see the coding parameters. Without that launcher, you will be unable to code your BMW properly. For F-Series, there is launcher created by Token Master. That's a really good guy from California. He's, I would say, the first one who helped the global BMW coding community to advance with coding. His launcher, Pro version of 2.8, it's available online. Unfortunately, it has been cracked and it can be used without any fee for all the F-Series. So if you have F-Series car, just find the launcher of that version online. It can be downloaded for free because, as I was told, it was cracked, and working with the F-Series, no problems. With the same launcher, you can try to work with the G-Series. You can work partial with some G-Series, but you will be unable to access the latest G-Series. So to work with the G-Series properly, you need to purchase a launcher. The launchers I can recommend that will be the same Launcher Pro from Token Master. Just shoot him an email and he'll answer you. Or you can buy, for example, Esys Plus. In today's video, I'll be working with Esys Plus launcher. Connection sequence. If you're using Ethernet cable, it is important in what sequence you start the car and connect the cable, because if you do it in the wrong direction, you might just not get the connection. That's why step number 1 is starting the car. You can either run the engine or start the ignition. On F-Series, starting the ignition is kind of easy. You just press the button twice and you will see the check engine light. It means the ignition has been started. If you have G-Series car, at the moment I'm running the engine, but if I want to start the ignition, the procedure is a bit different. Look how it's done. So on G-Series, if you want to start the ignition or put the car to diagnostics mode, you just have to press start stop button 3 times quickly. 1, 2, 3. And you can see ignition is on now. On G-Series it's called diagnostic mode. Be aware that if you're working on F-Series with ignition on or on G-Series with diagnostics mode on, it means that your engine is not running and all the power that's needed for all the ECUs to be run is taken from your battery. That's why the battery is being drained, and if you run that mode for too long time, you might not start your car in the end. That's why I highly recommend to work with engine on. Coding with engine running is totally safe. Don't be afraid of that. The only ECU that's not allowed to be coded while engine is running is engine ECU. Why? Because during the procedure of coding the ECU, after end of the coding, the ECU will be restarted. And what will happen with the engine if during the restart it loses communication with engine ECU? Yes, engine will stop, and it will stop not in the best way how it's meant. The best way how to set up the connection I have found for myself working for the years of experience. First, you start the engine or turn on the ignition. You wait for 30 seconds. Why it's needed? With that time, the central gateway of the car has enough time to boot up properly. Only after that, you can connect your Ethernet cable to the car OBD socket. Then wait 30 seconds and then connect another part, or Cat5, just Cat5, or with the adapter to the working computer. In that way, you will have the connection 100%. We have connected everything in the right sequence. Now let's fire up the Esys. As I told you, for the coding we will need Esys with the launcher. I have different launcher. I have tried almost all the launchers available on the market. and I'm not selling those. That's important. So please don't ask how to buy, can you sell me? No, please go and buy directly from the supplier. Different launchers might have a bit different launching procedure, but actually it does not matter. The most important thing you have to understand, launcher will just launch the Esys itself. So Esys has to be installed on your computer. What is really often not shown in any coding guides, how Esys have to be configured to work with the BMW properly, and I will show you that in a second. Let's wait for our Esys to be launched. So one small secret before connecting to the car, how to configure properly your Esys. I recommend you to go to the options, settings, over there again, options, and you can see that tick and that tick. They have to be off. Update VCM and update MSM. I highly recommend you to turn them off. If you do in that way, first, your coding will be done way faster, and second, you will have less problems with coding cars like G30 with old software. Believe me, that can save you a lot of time. Now let's establish the connection with the car. Esys is engineer level software, that's why it's kind of complicated. I will not cover the full functionality of that program, it's very complicated. I will cover those in my future videos if you find those useful. First, let's establish the connection. You can see over here, connection manager, click there. New window will appear. If you haven't worked with the Esys, your window will look like that one. Over here you can see the different connection types for all the different vehicles. Because I'm using the Esys Plus launcher, I have those extensions, so you can see which chassis should be connected via what. If you're using another launcher, for example Launcher Pro or regular Esys, you will not have those extensions, and that's why for the beginners it's really hard to understand how should I connect, which platform should I use, and for that please use that useful screen. This is the exact connection table taken from the Esys Plus launcher, and over there you can see via which chassis you should connect different cars. For example, if you have F10 car, you are connecting via the F10. If you have 7 Series F01, you are connecting via the F01. But for example, if you have F18, where should you go? You see the table, you can see actually the F18 is being connected through the F10. At the moment we are sitting in the G series, that's G30. If you look to that table, what should I choose? Of course, I should choose S15 connection type, it's over there. Let's choose that. Now let's go back to Esys. The way how I recommend you to work with each chassis, for example, you can see that's F1 regular and F1 with the direct. First, ignore all the positions where direct is written. It is not necessary at your level of knowledge at the moment. It will be required later, not today. So with the connection type, I recommend you to not show the all, but just gateway connection. So we are selecting that, we are making the table way smaller, and it's easier to orient there. Also, you might notice, for example, there is F01 first option and second option. Difference is with the databases. Over here you can see that this is 2021 November or 2022 March. At the beginning of the connection process, it doesn't matter which one of those you will choose, both will work. The most important that you will choose the right platform. At the moment we are sitting in 5 Series G30, that's why we have to scroll down, and over here is S15. As you can see, G30 is present there, so that will be the right connection. Next is the interface. At the beginning, when I was showing you different hardware, remember I showed you ICOM, Ethernet cable, and so on. So which one to choose? If you're using the Ethernet cable, connection via VIN, the lower one, that one, you can see the VIN number over here. If you have established connection properly, you will see VIN number here. If you have ignored my recommendations with the connection sequence, most likely you will not get the connection. That option will be grayed out and you will be unable to connect to your car. If it happened in that way, just lock your car for 20 to 30 minutes. It will allow it to sleep, and after that proceed with the proper connection sequence as I told you. Ignition first, wait 30 seconds, insert Ethernet cable, wait 30 seconds, insert cable to the computer. If you're using the ICOM, you should choose that option. Of course, with the ICOM you have to insert the right IP address to connect to your car. At the moment we're using the Ethernet cable, that's why we're choosing that option. And the last option, we have to choose either that one or that one. I always recommend you to read parameters from the VCM. In that case, you don't have to fill anything by yourself. The program will read out all needed information from the car. Now you are ready, and press connect. After pressing the connect, connection will be established. A new window should appear. In the next window, press OK, and it will be written that connection established. If you can see that message, it means the connection is OK. You can proceed to code the car. On your left hand side you can see comfort mode and expert mode. Please go to expert mode, and over here is tab named coding. Definitely highlight that one, because in different tabs the layout of the Esys is different and you can do different actions. For coding we will need coding tab. Step number 1, what we need to do, we need to read out the vehicle order from the car. Basically the vehicle order is the set of parameters from which car is made. Always, whatever you read out, I recommend you to save it. So press the save button, and to the desktop save it. It is G30 and FA. FA is a vehicle order from the German. Press save. The next button you need to click is read ECU. Press that one, and now in the middle part you can see there are 32 ECUs present in that car. Each ECU is responsible for certain functions, and going to the right ECU will allow you to code the needed parameters. So now let's choose the ECU we'll be working with. You can either just scroll down until you see the ECU that you are interested in, or the way how I prefer to work and I recommend you to work, on the ECUs make a right click and press collapse, and pressing the plus will expand it back, but all the ECU tree will be collapsed in the way, so it's way shorter and it's way more convenient to work with that. Be aware that while pressing on all the ECUs, if you press now the code tab, you will recode the whole car to the factory settings, and that's definitely not the thing you want to do at the moment. Today we'll be working with the Combi ECU. It is our cluster. In each ECU it consists from different files. We will cover all those files, why they are needed, later on in future videos. Today we'll be working only with the coding file. It's named CAFT. You highlight that and make a right click, and over here you have basically two options available: code or read coding data. We need to press read coding data. Be aware that Esys is engineer level software. It is very powerful. That's why do not press any other button that you are not sure, because with the single press of a single button you don't know what it's doing. You might make a lot of harm. So now, after we have read out, expand it again, and you can see the coding file. Now it's in yellow. Highlight that, right click on that, and press edit NCD. On some older version of Esys, it might not be the NCD, it might be written edit FDL. It's exactly the same, so don't be afraid. So either edit NCD or edit FDL. Just go there. Now what we have done, we have went inside the ECU, and now inside that ECU we can see the different parameters that can be changed. Of course, to change something you need to know how to change that and how it will affect your vehicle. In the coding, the hardest part is to know what parameter you need to change and in what ECU. The hardest part is to get that information. For that, in the Google you can find a lot of different cheat sheets for different platforms. They are scattered all around the internet, different forums, websites, and everywhere. A lot of coding enthusiasts of the BMW just to make them by themselves. So all the information you can find there, you have to check it. Is it valid or not? I wish there were a single place where you can find all the needed codings for different platforms. You just select your car, you can see what options can be coded there, how to code them, what parameter change, and so on. Unfortunately, there is no such a place in the internet at the moment. But if you are seeing that video, just check the description of that video. If you can find any links there to my website that I'm developing at the moment, Over there will be collected all the possible codings for all the BMWs, all the platforms. You can just select your vehicle and see what codings can be done there. And of course, with the subscription on that website, you can even see the different what parameters have to be changed. I really do hope when I finish my website that it will be a really useful source for all the BMW coders around the world. You can just go there, select the proper vehicle and see what the parameters have to be changed and so on. If you don't see any links in descriptions, it means my website site is not ready yet. Just be patient, check after some time, and that will be available. And now let's proceed to the coding itself. Before my website is not ready yet, I have to use different coding sheets that has been generated, some of them by me, some of them just downloaded from the internet and so on. So let's see something interesting to code. For example, on my digital cluster, I want to see the digital speed always visible. So I have to go to the ECU called dcombi2 and change that parameter. I'm already inside the ECU, I only need to change that parameter. So I'll just copy it. In the Esys, over here is a search folder. Just insert the parameter there and press search. It will find the parameter. If for whatever reason one symbol will be wrong in the search, you'll just find nothing. It will show no results. In that case, just delete a couple words and begin the search again until you find the needed parameter. Because all the parameters found on the internet might not be exactly correct. So we need to change that parameter. How it works? In that yellow folder, you see the plus, you expand it. And remember, always after expanding, go to the lowest level. You see that parameter, you expand it. And over here, if you make the right click, you can choose from different ones. With the basic codings, it will be just active or not active. With some more complicated codings, you have to know which parameter to choose. Where to know that information? From the cheat sheet, we can go and see. If we have selected that parameter, we need to change it to that value. So that value, we go back to Esys, right click, edit, and in that list, we can see, oh, it's over here. You can just select it here. We have now changed the coding, but not in the car. We have changed it only in the computer itself. Next button you need to press is to save that coding file. Just press that disk over there, it's save. Now, one way to go back is press that green button, press it. At the moment, if you don't hit anything else, all the areas that need to be highlighted are highlighted. Over here on your right hand side is code NCD. On the older versions of the Esys, that will be code FDL, just press it code. After pressing the code, the coding will start. After the coding, if you want to check if our change was applied or not, we need to know where to look. Over here in my cluster, you can see there is no additional field. There is nothing present here. After the coding, the digital speed will appear there. Here is the coding procedure. Please pay attention to the cluster. It will turn off. It will turn on again. In the Esys, we can see 0 errors, everything is green, that's okay. Let's go to the cluster now. You can see that field over there, there is digital speed displayed in that location. And you will not believe me that's it. You have successfully coded your BMW with your own hands. As I told before, the most complicated is to find the exact parameter that has to be changed. And that's it. And it's as simple as that. In today's video, we have talked about how to connect to the car, how to properly connect, what tools do you need, what software do you need, and how the coding have to be done, what parameters have to be changed. As you have seen, it is totally safe. You can always revert everything back. If in one ECU you have changed a lot of different parameters, actually there is a way how you can code everything back to factory settings. That will be the topic for Esys for Dummies number 2. So if you're interested in that video and you find it useful, please do share that with your friends and other BMW enthusiasts, hit the like button and see you in the next video. Bye.